Here's what we're going to do today, okay? We get asked all the time, hey man, I want to buy a home, all right? Like I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do these things. What do I need to do? Like what happens? You know what I mean? What's going to go down?
First steps.
Where do we got to go? How do I get started? What has to happen? We've done these shows now for a while, and we have had this conversation before. But I think it's really worth reviewing and talking about again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because as we were talking yesterday as a company, as a brokerage, as our agents together, as we meet every Tuesday together to talk and to train and to try to make our businesses better, we had the conversation yesterday about how the real estate market is right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, it's so different from 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's so different from almost a year ago. I mean, it's changed that much from almost a year ago that honestly, the steps that we're going to tell you are the same. But I think we can inject some knowledge here and some information here to people
the importance.
That's really about what's going on right now. That's why we want to do these. This is live, by the way, right?
Right.
This is a live
we're here
show. We're
January
here.
the 13th.
You know what I mean? It's right here. We're doing this. So you look at it and you say, we're going to tell you what's happening right now, okay, in the real estate market. Because buying a home right now, you may be that person out there that's bought 40 houses in your life. You may be an investor, but the market right now,
is different.
What do I do to buy a house?
Right.
A little bit different. Things are a little bit different than they were, again, just a year or two ago. So it's worth us having this conversation with you guys. So here we go. Here's the first thing. You want to buy a house, what do you need to do? Here's the first thing, okay? And I'm going to put this in a broad category and then we'll break it down. But you need to get in order, okay? Before you ever start trying to do anything, making any kind of moves, offers, doing anything, okay? You need to get your financial house, your financial situation, you need to get that settled.
Right.
Okay? You need to get that done. You need to put it out there because the decisions has to be made. Are you going to pay cash for it?
Yeah.
And you say, who's going to pay cash? There's a lot of people paying cash.
Right now,
there's a lot of people paying cash for properties. So you got to look at it and say, are you going to pay cash? If you're going to pay cash, where's that coming from? Is it coming out of your bank account? You're just going to go down here and get a check and write the check and be done with it? Is it coming from an investment? Is it coming from a 401k? Is it coming from some kind of stock or a mutual fund or whatever? Because those time frames may be a little bit different. Right. It may take you longer to get your cash. That's the first thing. Or are you going to be that person who are like the majority of people, probably over 75% of the people, they are looking at this and saying, nope, I would be getting a mortgage on this property.
Right.
Okay, I'd be going out, be taking out a mortgage, I'd be doing that. You need to get your financial house in order, that situation settled, because you need to know, you need to have a conversation with the mortgage person to look at it and say, one, do I fall in the category where I would have money to pay down?
Right.
Am I going to be getting a zero loan? What's my payment? What's my rate? But what is the range of homes in pricing that I need to go out there and look at?
Right.
Because the market right now is so competitive and so tight that literally I had the conversation just the other day with a person, and 2 and 3 hours, man, you're getting 8 and 10 showings on a property, and those 8 and 10 showings are leading to 4 and 5 offers.
Yep.
And so if you are just that person who's like, well, I'm going to skip that step because I want to go find the house first, and then I'm going to come back to it.
Right.
When you go to put it, because you go see the house, and there's 12 other people that are looking at it with you.
Yeah.
And now you got to go talk to them.
And they know the answer to this question we're talking about.
They know what's happening because they've been watching the show here. Then they're going to be a leg up on you to be able to get that house.
Yeah.
And we're seeing people lose properties, houses, even cash right now.
Right.
Because, again, they just don't have the financial house in order.
Yeah, and I mean, again, let's just be realistic about getting the pre-approved thing. I don't care what Zillow says, this is not going to be your payment on this house, okay?
No.
Zillow's always wrong. You need to be specific. That's what you're saying about, like, you need to know.
I want to know what my payment's going to be.
Because most of the time, a lender is going to give you again, you can, just like the other day, I had a guy call and say, I cannot go over $700 a month in a payment. What can that be? And the guy told me, you got to stay under 125.
Sure.
So, it's but all of that depends on, even in our area, let's talk about our area, from county to county.
It's different.
Those change because taxes.
Taxes.
Okay, taxes, insurance, if you're including that on your payment, if you're getting financing, you might as well do that.
Sure.
That's gonna change your payment. So a lot of times you'll see these sites and they'll say, "Oh, the payment on this house is X." They're not taking into account taxes and insurance.
No.
So that's stuff. But so people a lot of times they stretch themselves out because they say, "Well, I saw on Zillow that it says I can probably afford this much."
Right.
That's not true.
Sure.
Because you got to put taxes and insurance in there.
You also got to look at it and say everybody's financial situation is different. Debt to income is going to play a role.
Exactly.
A lot of things are going to play a role to what that interest rate is.
Right.
The interest rate's going to play, as we talked about a couple weeks
Last
ago. Last week, yeah. It's going to play a role in what the payment is. The payment's going to play a role in how much of a house can you buy.
Absolutely.
So it all works together. So
Yeah.
the first thing is, okay, you need to get your financial house in order. Now we get this question all the time. So what do you tell me more? How do I do that? You need to be connected with a bank, a mortgage person, someone that's going to be able to loan you the money, give you a mortgage on a property. It's simply a phone call, okay? We tell people all the time, we've got several, okay? We've got several, and we would we give you the knowledge, we give you, the names, you call them and you figure out who you can work with, because I might get along with somebody and you may not.
Right.
So you pick them.
But let me touch on this just for a minute, because I think this is something that people need to hear. People always say, "What does it matter? What does it matter about a lender?"
Sure.
Okay. I mean,
I'm with you.
if you're going to give me money and you're going to give me money, what does it matter
Sure.
which one I pick? It can be major in certain instances, because again, to us, we don't care who gives you the money.
No.
You don't. I mean, you probably as a person don't care if somebody's going to give you money.
I can get it.
You don't care who it is.
Right.
But if you've got a lender that is not slow, that is slow, that don't communicate well, that won't listen to you.
Exactly.
That can be deal breakers.
Exactly.
Because once we get into this contract, now prior to getting into contract, if you're okay with them taking 2 weeks to call you back, that's on you. Once you get into contract, if this is a problem, this can cause you to lose the house.
No doubt about it. Yes.
So it's, again, like you said, we got a bunch that we know and that we can say, okay, yeah, when you say, "Oh, I'm pre-approved," oh yeah, do a bunch of business with them.
Right.
They're good.
Sure.
That's what that's the information that we're going to try to help you with, is because, again, if we know there's one that they're slow, they have poor communication skills. Now, again, I tell people that. I'm going to tell you this is just the experiences that I've had. They were slow, they didn't communicate well. If you still want to use that person, I don't care.
No, we can't.
I do not
That's
care.
not our decision.
Right.
It's not our
I just
decision.
want you to be aware of this could cost you the deal.
Exactly. No doubt about it. So step number 1 is you got to get those finances in order. You got to know what you're going to do. And again, in this market, because it's 2 and 3 and 5 and 6 and 8 hours, these deals are happening that quickly. That stuff's got to be already figured out before you go. Because if you go before that, the person who's got it figured out, they're going to beat you out. Even if they're potentially offering less on the property than you, they're going to beat you out on that. What do you got for number 2, man? Give us number 2. I got number 1. You got to get finance. What do you got for number 2?
Number 2 is, okay, I was reading the question
I
here.
got you.
Number 2 is you need to put in an offer and, negotiate. You need to go negotiate your offer. Now, this is something I want to talk about because, again, been seeing a lot.
You got to go look, of course. We're giving you that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We got to go look.
Go look at houses.
Yeah.
And then, I'm saying that,
Find
but
the one.
you'd be surprised there's a lot of people who's not.
Exactly.
But anyways, so once you find the house, okay, let's just say that. Once you find the house you like, put an offer in, negotiate your offer. Now, in writing. I want to be specific on in writing.
Yes, you have to.
Okay, people get this question all the time. What we got to do this paperwork for?
Yeah, can we just not call and talk about this?
Can we just call them and say, "Look, I'd like to offer you this right here."
Yes.
That's again, 2 years ago, maybe it worked.
Right.
Maybe it worked. In today's market, like you just said, you got 8, 10, 12 people going looking at a house
Right now,
in a
man.
4-hour period.
Yeah.
Those people are writing offers.
Yes.
If they put it on paper and you've got a phone call,
Right.
your phone call means nothing.
No.
Let's just be honest. When it gets on paper, it is a real legal binding contract.
That's right.
That's what goes everywhere. That's what makes it matter. Yeah. So verbal stuff is not no good.
Right.
It's not no good.
Sure.
You don't want to do verbal because, again, Maybe you're going back and forth for a day. Hey, call over and tell them we'll give them this. You call over and tell them you'll give them this. And they say, well, I don't know. They hem-haw around, then they give you 2 hours. Well, again, in 2 hours, how many of those people could have already went and looked, been writing offers? They got pre-approval letters. They know where their money's coming from.
Exactly.
They're putting it on paper. Now, who you think they're going to take? Somebody who's got a real offer in front of them. This is real. I signed this. This house is under contract. Or I'm going to go with somebody who's throwing numbers at me on the phone.
Right. Exactly.
That's real.
And that's the difference in, you got to look at it and say, put yourself in the seller's shoes, the person who's taking these offers. They're probably going to want to know, well, this is what I really got. You know what I'm saying? This is probably really what's like going to happen. This is what's going to be real to me. And I can say, hey, once my signature goes on here, I know now that I have a deal. Even though, I'll be honest with you, sometimes that paperwork can be a hassle. Sometimes it can be something that we're like, man, oh, why are we having to? But we're doing that for a couple reasons, okay? The paperwork and the negotiations are because there's protections in there for all parties involved. Right. Me and you just standing and talking on the phone or having a text message about what we'll do, there's nothing there to help you as a buyer. You want the protection as a buyer to know when it happens, and nothing can go out from under you. So again, that's number 2. What do you got?
Well, I want to talk about one thing here because Kara made a thing, and I want to kind of make sure I understand what she's saying and make sure that we're all talking. So she said, I've seen a lot of people lose their homes when they put in insurance and taxes with their mortgage payment because escrow keeps going up. How can you even that out so that don't happen? So that is a variable. Now your house payment to the bank, I don't care if they sell it to 32 different companies. Your house payment that you are quoted from the bank will never go up.
If it's a fixed rate mortgage.
If it's a very key. If they got a fixed rate interest, mortgage. If they've got a fixed interest rate, that payment does not change. Taxes and insurance, however, can.
Yes.
But now, usually, this is just usually, I'm going to say this happens at least 95% of the time.
Right.
I can't help it on my house, just like I can't help it on my car if my car insurance rate goes up.
Right.
Now, let's just go back and speak a little bit realistically here. When people, sometimes this is a question that you have to answer because that scares people when they know that number is not fixed. Insurance, taxes are not something that's going. It could change. It could go up. It could come down. But now let's just be realistic about it. Taxes, for instance. Okay. Now taxes are broke down in 12 months. So like they take your taxes and let's just say you're good with math, okay?
Yeah, I'm good with math.
So let's just say though that it's $800. Your taxes are $800 a year. They break that down for 12 months. So I don't know what that would average up to, but it's not a great deal of amount, okay? Gotcha. Now, my taxes from 2019 to 2020 or 2020 to 2021, they might go up. My taxes might go up $50 this year.
Right.
Now, in the grand scheme, that's kind of if they go up, probably won't go up no more than that. So now you're only going to change that $50 and divide it by 12 months. 12. So your payment's going to go up a couple bucks.
$4.25.
$4.25. So it's not going to be something that's going to be like, oh God, I mean, there's no way I can pay this no more. Same thing with your insurance. But now here's the beauty of the insurance. Okay, get another quote.
Shop it.
Shop the insurance. If your insurance goes up, call somebody else and say, what can you get insurance on my house for?
Yeah, because you can
and
change
then
it.
That just changes.
Yeah.
So it's again, if there's insurance people watching, they'll tell you. But again, I'm not an insurance guy. I have no clue on how it even works.
Right.
But from what I hear, it's good to shop it around every couple of years because rates change very often in that thing. So shop it around. If that goes up, you're paying $4.25 more a month now for your taxes. Call and see if you can get somebody to save you $4.25. You're right back where you was at. So, but again, I know that does scare people. Right. I mean, I've had that before where they say, I mean, I can't do that knowing that this could change. It's not going to change drastically.
Yeah, it should.
I mean, you're not talking about getting, your payments will go up $200.
If your taxes change, the way that they could change is you go in and you do a lot of improvements to your property.
Absolutely,
You literally just bring the value of your property up, and the assessor says, hey, when they bought this property, it was in bad shape. It was, it was run down.
Yeah.
And now they've went in and done all this. You can see your taxes jump, but it's not a common thing that you really see.
If you're paying taxes on vacant land and now you build a house on it, well, of course your taxes are going to go up.
Exactly.
But again, we're talking about, for the most part, 95+% of what happens, you're not going to see that big of influx on taxes.
You should.
Again, if you do, that's not normal.
You should. Make sure what we're talking to you about today is hey, I want to buy a house, okay? We get this question all the time. What do I need to do? We're going through 5 steps. The 2 biggest ones, honestly, when I look at this, or the 3 biggest ones, are probably these first 3 here that you've got to work through as the buyer of a property. First one's get your financial house in order. Second one's find your property and get you an offer put on it in writing that you can negotiate out. It's signed, it's binding. That's the big thing. The third thing is after you get that, okay, you got everything done, you feel good about it, you've got an offer accepted, we highly recommend this next step does not have to be done.
It's optional.
However, we highly recommend to everybody, whether you're buying a brand new construction property or you're buying one that this thing needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
We highly recommend that the next step is to get a home inspection.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody says, well, what does home inspections cost? It actually costs, depending upon the square footage of the house, how far the home inspector's got to go and do
depending on the home inspector.
Exactly. Different things there, okay, you can look at. But let me tell you what, you're getting ready to, on average, we just had this conversation, on average in the Lakeway area right now, people are on average for the price of a home spending $230 some odd thousand.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to commit 30 years for $230 some thousand, okay? If I had to pay, and I'm just going to throw a number out here because they're all over the board, but I'm throwing a number. If I had to pay $350, okay, for a professional to go in and look this house over top to bottom.
Top to bottom.
When I say top to bottom, I mean he's under the TVs, he's in the attic, he's in the crawl space, the basement, checking the foundation, looking at your floor joists. He's doing everything, looking for mold, looking for electrical outlets, problems that could burn your new home down. He's looking at all these things, or he or she's looking at all these things. You look at that and you say, that's the best $350 I could spend in my life to make sure they're going in and seeing things that I can't see.
Right.
Because me and you, when we go in and start looking at a home, I can see what I can see. But I'm not a pro for me to tell you, is there fungus growing in the vents of your HVAC system? Exactly. I don't know that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And honestly, you probably don't know that. Yeah. So you look at it and say, we like to tell people the next step is get a home inspection. Now, here's what's going to happen. Now, home inspector's going to come out and look at this house. And again, I'm looking at it saying from a brand new construction, this bad boy was just built, to one that has got a lot of work on. You're going to get back about a 30 to sometimes 100-page report.
Yeah.
Depending upon what's going on in this property. And they are going to outline for you everything that they see that could be wrong right now, could potentially be wrong in the future. They're going to give you a report about this house. So worst case scenario, they come back, you pay them $350, they come back and say you have no problems.
Right.
No problem, man, ain't a thing wrong.
Don't that make you feel good at that point?
But one thing, I've never seen one that they said you ain't got no problems. They always find something.
Right.
But anyways, don't that give you a little bit of peace of mind? Hey, I'm getting ready to move into this thing and everything's in working function and there ain't no mold. It does that. On the other hand, they're going to come back to you and they're going to say, I got bad news.
Right.
You can't see this, but there's been a leak somewhere from the tub. It's been leaking between the tub and the wall. And nobody knew it, nobody's seen it.
Right.
It must have been doing it for a while. But literally, the whole master bathroom floor underneath has black mold all over it. You just protected yourself and your family from that because a pro went in and did it. We recommend step number 3 is get a home inspector.
So listen, this is just what I always say.
Our home inspector friends out there you ought to thank us for.
Yes, absolutely. But I mean, realistically, this is just me. I personally, if I was going to sell my house tomorrow, I would want to make sure that I've got things. If I know that things are wrong, I would want to make sure that I fix those before I try to sell it. Most people are that way.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're going out there to try to find stuff this person's hiding from you.
No.
They're not trying to hide from you. A lot of times it's unknowns. Like I said, they might be a leak that you don't know about. And so, especially, again, a lot of times houses that have crawl spaces and no basements, I mean, do you make a habit of crawling underneath there every day and looking for a leak? No. Yeah. So a lot of times you're going to find stuff like that. Now, again, just like a lender, getting a good home inspector is a good thing, because again, you want to make sure they're checking everything.
Exactly.
So again,
check it out.
you don't want to get somebody who they say, oh yeah, well, I mean, everybody else is doing it for $300, I'll do it for $150.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and not that they might not be doing a good job, but I'm just saying, you want to know that, hey, I'm really going to go out there and check it out.
Right.
I'm really going to go check it out. You want to make sure they're thorough. Now listen, like Mike said just for a minute ago, that chances are they're going to find some kind of problem. That don't mean it's going to be a big astronomical problem.
No.
It could be, because again, this is what I tell people. You are paying a private eye detective to go through this house with a fine-tooth comb. They are going to check every detail about this house. If they don't understand if this is right or not, then they'll say, I'm going to recommend you to get an HVAC guy to check it out, a mold guy to check it out.
Right.
They're going to recommend other people, but they kind of know what to look for.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you want to make sure that they're checking it out top to bottom. You want to make sure that you're okay. Just understand going in. If Jason and Tina was watching this right here, they would tell you, because that was the last new construction I saw. But new construction house, people's thinking, you're crazy to spend $300 to get a home inspection. This is a brand new construction house. We had a list.
Right.
A list of problems.
Right.
Again, none of it was major.
Right.
But again, little problems. Did the builder do that intentionally? Absolutely not. But this is just like little things, like your downspout extensions to get when it rains, it comes down the gutter to get it far enough away from the house.
Right.
So little things like that, hey, you don't think about it at the time. Was there downspout extensions? Yes, they just wasn't far enough.
Exactly.
So little things like that, and you got to understand, you're going to have little problems. It's okay. We can work through that. Now, again, if they come back and say, hey, man, your exterior wall is leaning massively. Right. You've got major structural problems.
Bad structural
you know what the benefit of that is now? Now you have a way to say, okay, look, I don't want this house no more.
I'm out.
I don't want this house no more. So your contract that we wrote up in step 2 allows you to do that.
Exactly.
If you don't have it, you don't have no
protection. The protection is there. So again, we're talking about, we got one more here. Okay, we got 2 more actually, but we'll go through them quick. We've been long.
Yeah, because my 4th one here is nothing.
Yeah. So we're going through these. I want to buy a house. What do I do? We've been through the first 3 steps. Give them number 4, and then I'll give them number 5.
So quick, number 4 is, if you're getting a loan, there must be an appraisal done. Now, basically, there's 2 things you need to know about this. Number 1, you're going to pay for it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why we tell people
this could be another expense to you that you're going to have to pay for an appraisal. An appraisal and a home inspection, they're non-refundable fees. So, but what's the importance of the appraisal? For you, you want to know that the house you're buying is worth what they're trying to sell it to you for. Again, home prices are up tremendously.
Yes. And
people who look, I'm just going to be real quick on this and then we'll go. People real quick, young people who come look. I point at myself like I'm young. I'm 40 years old, but young people.
Lordy, you're 40.
Yeah, young people in their 20s, a lot of times they're going to get their parents, which is totally fine, to get your parents to come look at you. And the first thing they're going to say, when I bought my house in 1989, I could have bought this house for $85,000.
Right.
It's $215.
Right.
You're crazy.
Right.
Prices has changed for one. But listen, it's a benefit to you as the buyer to know that, hey, this house is worth what I'm giving for it. If it comes back, it's $215 is what you've offered on it, and it comes back for $175.
Right.
There's like a 98% chance they're going to drop it and sell it to you for that price.
Now we got an appraisal.
We've got an appraisal on file. We know this is what the bank will lend on this house.
Exactly.
So it's a good thing.
Exactly.
We'll not harp on it. You got to pay for it. If you're getting a loan, it has to be done.
Yes, that's the big thing. Got to get it up front because a lot of people don't know those fees, okay? Last thing we'll talk about, and then we'll let you go for the day. The last thing you got to do is the funnest part, all right? You got to go to the closing company, the attorney's office, the real estate office, wherever you're going. You get to sign a whole lot of paperwork, okay? So you got to make sure you got your wrist ready to go to sign the paperwork.
Yes.
You got to sign a whole lot of paperwork, and then the last step is you get the keys to your new home, your dream home, whatever you've wanted. That's always the best part, but there's a lot of things that's got to happen. We gave you 4 big ones that's got to happen before that, but there are a lot of other things that's got to happen through that process. If you are thinking of buying a home, you know somebody thinking of buying a home, they just got questions, just want information, just need a little, let's bounce this off.
We'll go in detail about a lot of these.
Yes. Let's bounce it off somebody who does this all the time. Have them to call any of the agents at Elite Realty Group. They would be glad to answer you the questions and be more privileged to serve you, to walk you through the process of literally taking you from start to finish in searching, finding, pre-approval, all of that, and getting you in your new home. It would be our honor to serve you.
Start to finish, once you get pre-approved and we find a house, once we make that offer, you're looking 30 to 45 days.
Exactly.
And you're now doing, he said, you're moving, moved in. Again, that where it goes back. If your lender's slow, this hurts you on all this.
Slow it all down. So again, that's our real estate information for you today.